All right, let me just lay this out for you all the way I see it. Because this right here is the moment I've been waiting to talk about. You came for the theory, for the inside scoop, for that gut-level truth that only comes when the cracks finally start to show. And for the first time, I'm telling you, there are cracks showing in this Cleveland Browns operation. Not the kind you can just gloss over with a press conference or a team statement. No, these are deep, structural cracks in the front office itself, in that so-called collaborative relationship between Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, and ownership. Now, I've said this before, political games don't just happen in Washington. They happen inside every NFL building too. Everyone plays the game. The difference is, most people don't see it because they buy into the clean corporate image, the idea that Berry and Stefanski are sitting down in harmony, making every decision together, lockstep, same page. That's what they want you to believe. Everything's good. Everyone's aligned. We all believe in the vision. But that illusion only lasts as long as it's convenient. And right now, the convenience has worn off. Every single time this team loses, another piece of that front office armor chips away. Even the diehard fans, the ones who used to defend this regime no matter what, are starting to feel it. Every fumble, every broken drive, every stale offensive game plan is reminding them that something's rotten inside the walls. Let's build a totem pole together. Smash like, subscribe, and comment. If this video hits 1,500 likes, that means we're beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's make it happen. Let me ask you something. What kind of organization trades away its starting quarterback in the middle of the season when he's actually playing the best football of his life? Who does that? And not only that, who then follows that up, literally a day later? By getting rid of the veteran backup, they said was a captain, the one wearing the C on his chest, the guy who gave them the best shot to win. That's not normal NFL behavior. Teams don't do that. Teams don't make back-to-back quarterback trades mid-season unless there's confusion at the top, unless somebody in the building is being left out of the loop. And I'm telling you right now, Kevin Stefanski wasn't in the know. He woke up and found out just like the rest of us that Joe Flacco was gone. Somebody higher up pulled that chip off the table. Somebody with more power decided that Flacco was no longer an option, not even as a backup plan. And you could see it all over Stefanski's face during that press conference. He looked shook, because for the first time since he took this job, he realized not everybody inside that building has his back. That we support Kevin talk? It's a mirage. Because if ownership and Berry really supported him, why would they take away the only veteran stabilizing his quarterback room? Why would they trade Flacco, to a division rival no less, right before they have to play him? You think that's a coincidence? Nah, that's a message. That's ownership telling Stefanski, we don't trust your judgment anymore. And here's the brutal truth. This is how they play him. They know Kevin's biggest weakness is the quarterback position. They know he overthinks, that he second-guesses himself, that he's loyal to a fault with his hand-picked guys. So what do? They corner him. They let him make his own grave. They're sitting back saying, sure, Kevin, start Bailey Zapp if you want. Go ahead, prove us wrong. And when he doesn't, when it blows up in his face, they'll just say, well, he had full control. He made the call, that's cold. That's chess, not checkers. And that's why I'm telling you, this whole we're unified thing is falling apart from the inside out. You can feel it. You can see it. Stefanski looks like a man who's starting to realize he's on the outside looking in, that the walls are closing in, and that the same front office that once built him up is now quietly setting him up to fail. And this is the part where I get real with y'all. Because every time I break this down, there's always that segment of the fan base that jumps into the comments with the same tired lines. You just hate Stefanski. You're too negative. You're trying to run the coach out of town. Nah. Man, I'm not hating. I'm diagnosing. I've been giving you the tape, the stats, the analytics, the film, the trends, everything. I'm not pulling this stuff out of thin air. It's right there if you're willing to look. But here's the hard truth. Fandom isn't just about football. It's about tribalism. It's human nature. People want to belong to something. They want to feel like they're part of a group, a cause, a family. And the Browns, this team, for a lot of people, it's not just a team. It's a religion. You grow up in it. You live and die with it. And when someone like me comes in and tells you, hey, your faith might be misplaced, that's not just football criticism, that's heresy. Because to turn your back on this team, even mentally, is to admit that everything you believed in might have been wrong. And most people can't do that. They won't. So instead of facing it, they lash out. They deflect. They say I'm being dramatic. They say I'm stirring the pot. But the truth doesn't care how it feels. It's still the truth. Look, you can keep hoping it gets better. You can keep convincing yourself this is just a rough patch. But at some point, you have to look at the pattern. The indecision, the bad trades, the confused messaging, the quarterback carousel, and admit something's broken. You can't fix what you won't acknowledge. So, like a good doctor, I'm not here to sell false hope. I'm here to rip the Band-Aid off. To tell it to you straight, this organization is cannibalizing itself from the inside out. Ownership is playing games, the GM is playing politics, and the coach is coaching for his life without even realizing he's already on borrowed time. And I'll say this, come Saturday, when we do our members-only chat, I'll remind you that I said this. Because when the dust settles and the same patterns play out again, y'all are gonna look back and say, man, he called it. Now, I've been covering this team long enough to know when something special's brewing. You can see it in the way players talk, the way they carry themselves, and the way a locker room starts to move as one. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is that spark, that magnetic presence that's getting everyone to believe. Myles Garrett, a guy who doesn't hand out compliments unless they're deserved, basically said it best. Every morning when he walks into the facility, Shedeur's already there. In the coach's office, breaking down tape, talking through plays, going over schemes, asking questions nobody else is asking. That's not just showing up early. That's showing he cares. And it's not just about hours logged. It's about intent. This kid shows up to work with purpose. He's not just trying to fit in or earn a rep. He's trying to master his craft. He's not standing around waiting for his turn. He's preparing for it like it could come any second. Myles talked about that too. How Shedeur doesn't just mimic what others do. He studies what they do, and then he makes it his own. That's rare. That's what separates quarterbacks from guys who throw footballs. Now, Myles wasn't the only one who noticed. Jerry Jeudy, who's been vocal since day one about leadership and accountability, stepped up and said exactly what a lot of us have been thinking. Why hasn't Kevin Stefanski made Shedeur QB2 yet? Especially now that Joe Flacco's no longer in the picture. You can hear the frustration in Jerry's voice. It's not anger, it's disbelief. Because the players see what's going on every day in practice, in meetings, in the locker room. They know who's putting in the work. And Jerry flat out said it. Shedeur has earned my trust. That's not a small statement. Trust is everything in an NFL locker room. When veterans start publicly saying, we trust this guy, that's not just talk, that's culture shifting. That's the locker room telling the coaching staff, we're ready to go to war with him. And you know what really stood out to me? When Mary Kay Cabot asked Jerry Jeudy about Shedeur's confidence, that quote where Shedeur said he's absolutely ready to play, Jerry didn't push back or try to humble him. He doubled down. He said, yeah, he's been doing everything the coach has asked. He's doing the work. He's being a pro. And to me, that says everything. Because this isn't some kid running his mouth. This is a quarterback who's done the homework, checked every box, and then said, I'm ready. There's a difference. Now here's where things get complicated. Kevin Stefanski. Man, he's in a tough spot. He keeps saying he wants to protect player development, and he doesn't want to rush Shedeur. But at some point, that cautious approach starts sounding like fear. And it's hard not to wonder if he's overthinking it. He keeps pointing to Shedeur's youth as an excuse, but then he turns around and gives a guy like Quinshon Judkins, who didn't even have a full camp, a shot to prove himself. So let me ask this. If Judkins gets that chance, why not Shedeur? That's exactly what analyst Dan Orlovsky was getting at the other day. He basically called out the organization, saying it's disappointing that Shedeur hasn't even been officially named QB2 yet. Dan's point was simple. If this season is supposed to be about finding out what the future of the quarterback room looks like, then why are we pretending there's still a debate here? Because there isn't. Dylan Gabriel's fine. But everyone knows this quarterback conversation in Cleveland is about one name, Shedeur Sanders. And that's where we're at right now. This weird, frustrating limbo. The players are behind him. The media's starting to rally around him. Even the fans. I mean, go scroll through any Browns thread online. It's obvious where the city stands. Everyone sees what this kid brings. The discipline, the poise, the humility, and that quiet confidence you can't fake. But Stefanski keeps pumping the brakes. And if I'm being honest, that hesitation is starting to feel like more than just being careful. It feels like control. Like he's trying to show that no player, no rookie, no hype can dictate his decisions. But the problem is, sometimes a locker room tells you who's ready before a coach ever does. And right now, Cleveland's locker room is screaming it. This team is behind Shedeur Sanders. They believe he's earned the right to take that next step, at the very least to be named QB2. And let's be real, he's done everything right. He's been professional, he's been patient, and he's earned the respect of veterans who don't hand that out easily. So here's what I'll say. If the Browns are truly serious about building something sustainable, about setting up the next decade of this franchise, then it starts with making decisions that reflect the future, not the fear.
Shedeur represents that future.
And every day he sits, the Browns risk not only stunting his growth, but also alienating the very locker room that's finally united behind something, someone they believe in. The time's come. Stop overthinking it. Stop playing scared. Name him QB2. Let him learn, let him lead, and let this locker room keep building around that energy. Because trust me, if you give Shedeur Sanders his moment, if you let him step on that field and show what everyone inside that building already knows, Cleveland's going to realize that the future isn't coming someday. The future is already here.